Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking through some player props I like on Prizepicks for today's NBA slate on Wednesday, May the 21st. We got game one of the Eastern Conference Finals on Wednesday night, Knicks and Pacers, and I've got two early player props I do like for this game, taking a first look at the board on Tuesday night, recording this video the night before, got some early plays I like the night before. We're going to break down these plays, we're going to share why I like them. Now, before we do get started, guys, make sure that you hit that like button down below if you enjoyed these Prizepicks videos. Make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to the channel and if you are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have a Prizepicks account, be sure to sign up. Use that promo code NOAH. When you guys sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code, place your first $5 lineup. You're going to get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account. So an easy way to build up your bankroll on Prizepicks. You don't have to make a large deposit. You can just put in the minimum and still get those $50 worth of promo funds, again, when you play your first $5 lineup. So use that code NOAH over on Prizepicks. And also, I do want to give a quick shout out to Sleeper because we do have a partnership with Sleeper as well. You guys can go sign up for Sleeper. Use promo code NOAH over there. You'll get your first deposit matched up to $100. So whatever you put in, Sleeper will match that up to $100. You put in 50, they'll give you an additional 50. You put in 100, they'll give you an additional 100. But if you guys don't know what Sleeper is, they're a DFS pick'em app similar to Prizepicks where you pick more or less on player projections. You build out your lineup. You can make up to an 8-pick lineup on Sleeper. Can win up to 100x your money. And one of the biggest benefits of playing on Sleeper is that they do a lot of promotions and a lot of discounts throughout the week. They're always doing discounts on player props, giving out payout boost, giving out multiplier boosts, so giving out higher payouts on certain props. They also do protected plays as well. They're doing all this stuff throughout the week, a bunch of different promotions that they run, and that's one of the benefits of playing on Sleeper. I would say, of all the DFS apps I've seen, they probably give out the most promotions on a weekly basis. So go check them out, guys, and make sure, again, to use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up for Sleeper. But let's go ahead and talk about some plays that I do like for Wednesday for game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I do want to recap our plays from Tuesday's video from game one of the Western Conference Finals. We gave out two plays on Tuesday. We went 1-1 on our two plays, hit one, but we lost a play as well. We did hit on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 7.5 free throws made, which was relatively sweat-free. I think SGA had like 5 or 6 free throws made in the first quarter. He was getting to the line a ton. And I think that prop might have cashed in the first half. So it was relatively sweat-free. But unfortunately, we took Naz Reid over 3.5 field goals made, which I felt really good about that play. It was a play that I liked a lot. Expected Naz Reid's minutes to get upped in this series, and they did. He played 28 minutes Tuesday night, took 11 shot attempts, but he just shot the ball terribly, man. Like 1 for 11 from the field, 0 for 7 from 3, or I think 0 for 8 from 3. Like, if you would have told me before the game started that Naz Reid would play 28 minutes and would have 11 shot attempts, I would feel very confident that he went over 3.5 field goals made. But just knowing my luck, Reid went out there and shot 1 for fucking 11. Like, just go figure. I mean, that's just my luck. So, super fucking frustrating, man. Like, I felt like the Reid was spot on there with Naz Reid. I know Rudy Gobert did get into some early foul trouble, which obviously got Reid's minutes upped in the first half. But they went away from Rudy Gobert in the second half, especially late in the game. They were trailing. We kind of talked about that in yesterday's video, how if Minnesota gets behind, they typically don't play Gobert, and they look for more shooting, more spacing. That's usually when Naz Reid gets on the floor. And Naz Reid got minutes in the second half because they needed shooting, they needed spacing, and he just wasn't providing that because he wasn't making any fucking shots. So really frustrating, man. Like, it felt like the Reid was there, and Reid goes out there and shoots fucking 1 for 11. But it is what it is. We'll move on to Wednesday, guys. Got two plays here for Wednesday. Let's try and bounce back here. Let's try and hit both these plays on Wednesday night, game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. So first prop that I like, or actually both the props I like for tonight, are going to be fantasy score props. I know some people who watch these videos don't play on Prizepicks, so maybe you don't have access to fantasy score. I will say that if I ever give out a fantasy score prop, almost always a fine alternative to fantasy score is PRA. So if I say, if I'm taking a player over fantasy score, you could definitely look at taking their over on PRA. That's kind of the same thing. There'll obviously be chances, or there'll be times when they go over fantasy score, but they don't go over PRA. But for the most part, if I like a player over fantasy score, I'm going to like them over PRA as well. So the first prop that I do like, a fantasy score prop, is going to be Karl-Anthony Towns. We're going to take him for more than 41 fantasy scores. So Karl-Anthony Towns has been, pretty bad so far in the playoffs, but he has had some really, really tough matchups. So, first series they faced Detroit. Detroit's been really good defensively this year. Jalen Duren been a very good defender. Detroit's kind of been a tough matchups for centers really all season. And then their last series was against Boston, another very tough matchup. I mean, we know Boston's one of the best defensive teams in the league. Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, both really good defenders. It was just a really tough matchup for Cat. They also used Jason Tatum on him at times defensively. Tatum's a good defender as well, can provide, Cat some troubles. Now Cat gets a really good matchup against the Pacers. I think this is a spot where Cat should have a much better series, and I think we're going to see some really good games from Cat in this series. He was really good against the Pacers during the regular season. These teams did play 3 times during the regular season, and in those 3 games, Cat did have 48, 41.8, and 68.9 fantasy scores, so he was really good against the Pacers earlier this season. 21 points, 15 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 30 points, 9 rebounds, 1 block, 40 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Like, he had some huge games against Indiana earlier this year. I think it's a good matchup for Cat. I mean, Indiana's a team that you can definitely beat, around the rim. They gave up a lot of points in the paint during the regular season. Indiana's also a team that they don't rebound the ball particularly well. They're definitely a team you can beat on the glass. And Cat, we know this year has seen a really big spike in his rebounding numbers. Obviously, he's been playing pretty much all of his minutes at center, which is something that we haven't seen in the past. Like when he was on Minnesota, he was playing more at power forward, playing alongside Rudy Gobert. But now he's starting at center, getting a lot of minutes at center. They will play him with Mitchell Robinson at times, so not all of his minutes are going to be strictly at center. But he's playing a lot of minutes at center this year, which has really upped his rebounding numbers, and it's just upped his fantasy points per minute overall. You look at Cat this season with the Knicks, during the regular season, he averaged 1.34 fantasy points per minute. That's the most fantasy points per minute that he's averaged in a season since 2021. So he's clearly, his production has clearly been better this year playing for the Knicks. Also in the playoffs, his production's been solid. It hasn't been as good as it was during the regular season, but in the playoffs, he has averaged 1.07 fantasy points per minute. And one thing that we know, we're going to get from Cat, as long as he avoids foul trouble, which is a big if, because Cat, he will get in foul trouble. He's a guy that will foul a lot. But I think in this series against the Pacers, you look at the Pacers, they're not a team that draws a ton of fouls. They don't drive to the basket a lot. Like, they're kind of a jump shooting team. Miles Turner, not a big man that, drives to the basket a ton. I mean, he just shoots a lot of threes. He's not drawing a lot of fouls. Pascal Siakam will drive and will draw some fouls, but I don't know if Cat's going to even guard Siakam in this series. So I think Cat, fingers crossed, should be able to avoid foul trouble here. And when Cat stays out of foul trouble, he typically plays really big minutes. We know Tom Thibodeau is a coach that will run his starters into the ground. We saw, Game 6 of last series, Boston, when they were playing Boston last game. I mean, the Knicks were up like 35 with like 5 minutes left, and Tom Thibodeau still had his starters in the game. Like, the dude's a complete psycho. Like, he'll play his starters huge minutes, even when it's a blowout, but this is a game that obviously projects to be competitive. I think we're going to get like 36, 37, 38 minutes from Cat here, as long as he avoids foul trouble, and I think the matchup is really good for Cat. I'm expecting some better games from Cat in this series. I know he struggled last series, but again, that was a really tough matchup against Boston. Much better matchup here. So give me Karl-Anthony Towns for more than 41 fantasy score as our first play for today. And then the other play that I like on the Pacers side is Tyrese Halliburton for more than 39.5 fantasy score. So Halliburton also, did not have the greatest matchup last series against Cleveland. Cleveland, strong defensive team, historically has been strong defensively against guards as well. Now, Halliburton did still have some big games against Cleveland, was really good in, I think that was game 5 or 6 against Cleveland. He was really good, had that big game. I think that was game 1. Then he had a couple down games. He was okay in the Cleveland series, but I think this matchup for him against the Knicks is going to be pretty favorable as well. The Knicks are a team that defensively, they are solid. Like, they do have some really good defenders, but Halliburton has shown an ability to be able to still have success even in tough matchups. He's one of these guys that even when the scoring is not really there, like even when Halliburton has struggled, even when he struggles with shooting, which can happen at times, he can still contribute with assists. He's obviously a great facilitator, big time ball handler. And he's a guy that can rebound a little bit as well. He's also shown an ability to get defensive stats, which is something that we typically haven't seen from Halliburton. He's never really been known as a guy that can get a bunch of defensive stats, but he's been solid getting defensive stats like this postseason. Last game against Cleveland, when he had 52 fantasy score, he did have 1 steal, 1 block in that game. Had a couple game one against Cleveland, he had 1 steal, 3 blocks. There was a game against the Bucks last series where he had 3 blocks and 3 steals. So the steals upside, the steals and blocks upside that he has shown in the playoffs will only add to his fantasy score upside. Obviously, the assist upside is there. Rebounding has been solid. Scoring can kind of come and go. We've seen Halliburton have bad shooting games at times, but I do like this matchup for him against the Knicks. I think he's probably going to be guarded by Mikal Bridges. They might put OG Anunoby on him. I'm not sure. I think OG might guard Siakam, though, so I think we might see Halliburton guarded by Mikal Bridges. But either way, I do like this matchup for Halliburton. We've seen lead ball handlers do well against the Knicks. I mean, Kay Cunningham, obviously him and Halliburton not quite on the same level, but Kay Cunningham, kind of a similar player, a ball-dominant player. He had a lot of success against the Knicks when they played in this series. And then we look at last series against Boston, you saw Derek White. Obviously, Derek White not a big ball handler, but Derek White had some big games against the Knicks. Like, guards have had success against the Knicks this year. And Halliburton's a guy that, in close games, he's going to play 36, 37, 38 minutes. You look so far in the playoffs, if you look at the games where he's played at least 34 minutes, he's had a couple games where his minutes were down, either because, probably because of blowout. But then games where he's played at least 34 minutes, he's had 47, 35, 42, 38, 56, 52, 62 fantasy scores. So, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, in 7 games in the playoffs with at least 34 minutes, he is over this fantasy score line in 5 out of 7. And if you look at the 2 games where he went under, he had 35.4 fantasy score and shot 3 for 13. And then the other game where he went under was this game against Cleveland, where he barely went under by less than a point. He had 38.8 fantasy score. But more times than not, when Halliburton plays like 35, 36 minutes, I'd bet on him going over 39.5 fantasy score, especially with how he can contribute outside of scoring. Not saying that Halliburton can't score in this matchup, because I definitely think he can. But even if he struggles shooting the ball, he can still get there with rebounds, with assists. Obviously, assists they are important for fantasy score because you get 1.5 points for assists. So like Halliburton, he can go out there and get double-digit assists, 10, 11, 12 assists. And for fantasy score, I mean, 10 assists, that's worth 15 fantasy points. So like assists are very valuable for fantasy score. Obviously, steals and blocks are valuable. Halliburton has shown some steals and blocks upside, something we haven't seen in the past, but something that he's been doing a little bit in the playoffs. But I do like this play on Halliburton, 39.5 fantasy score. I think this is a matchup that he can have success in. It's one that he had some success in against the Knicks earlier this season. These teams did play 3 times in the regular season. Halliburton did have a bad game where he only had 10 fantasy points, but he also only played 26 minutes in that game, shot 0 for 8. Then he had a huge game against the Knicks on November the 10th, had 62.4 fantasy score, 35 points, 2 rebounds, 14 assists, 2 steals. And then he had a game where he had 30 fantasy points in 33 minutes, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists in that game. But like I said, I like this matchup for Halliburton. I think this line on him at 39.5 is a bit low. This is a line that I would bet on him going over more times than not when he plays his full 36 minutes, which is probably what he should play on a nightly basis in the Eastern Conference Finals. And if this game is competitive, I think we will see both these guys, Cat and Halliburton, play like 36, 37, 38 minutes. Obviously for Cat, you kind of have to worry about foul trouble, but we talked about that earlier. I think this is a series, fingers crossed, where Cat can stay out of foul trouble. But that's what I'm liking, guys, is our 2 plays for Wednesday night for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. If you guys enjoyed this video, if it did help, make sure to hit that like button down below, guys. Before you do get out of here, hit that subscribe button as well. And if you are new to the channel, and if you are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have a Prizepicks account, be sure to go sign up. Use that promo code NOAH when you guys do sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code and place your first $5 lineup. You're going to get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account. So check out Prizepicks if you have not yet. But good luck tonight, guys. Let's win some money, and I'll see you guys in the next video.